Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon for those of us joining on the East Coast, of course. I want to thank you for joining us for today's Allison James Estates and Homes National Webinar, where we'll be joined momentarily by our host, Katrina Sawa from Jumpstart Your Biz. Hope that you're ready to start putting yourself first. But before we jump in with Katrina, I'd like to mention that, as always, of course, our goal here at Allison James is to give back to our agents by providing tons of educational opportunities, training sessions, live webinars like this one, live events, along with full broker support and the most up-to-date tools and technology available. We're always looking for new tools and are glad to be able to provide those tools to our agents at a lower cost or discounted price. That way you can keep all of your hard-earned money. For those joining us who aren't Allison James Estates and Homes agents, we are a nationwide brokerage that offers 100% commission, 100% support, and 0 franchise fees. Why would you want to split your hard-earned commission if you don't have to? So it's out with the old, in with the new as we come into 2023, of course. And for more information about Allison James, please visit our website at agicareers.com. Also, today's webinar is sponsored by our preferred lending partner, Movement Mortgage. If you would like more information about Movement, please feel free to send us a message in the chat, and we'll be sure to get you connected with the folks at Movement. I've posted this in the chat already, but if you do have questions throughout the presentation, go ahead and submit those in the chat box. That's located in your Zoom control panel. And as time allows, of course, we'll answer as many questions as we can toward the end of the presentation. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Katrina Sawa. Katrina is an award-winning international speaker and business coach known as the Jumpstart Your Biz Coach because she literally kicks her clients and their businesses into high gear and fast. She's the creator of the Jumpstart Your Biz marketing and sales system, Jumpstart Your Biz in 90 Days system, Jumpstart Yourself as a speaker system, and 12-time international best-selling author with 20 books, including Jumpstart Your Business Now and Love Yourself Successful. She's been featured on the Oprah and Friends XM radio network, ABC, the CW in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles Tribune as well, and hundreds of podcasts, and has built a foundation for highly successful coaching business 20 years ago on nothing but networking and follow-up. Music to our ears, right, guys? Networking and follow-up. Imagine that. She loves to inspire and educate other entrepreneurs how to create a strategy to develop, market, and monetize a consistent money-making business by doing what you love. In 2018, Katrina founded Jumpstart Publishing to save money on publishing books and now helps 10 to 40 authors every year publish their books and become bestsellers. She is also the founder of the International Speaker Network, a free networking group for speakers of all kinds to come find opportunities, learn, and monetize speaking. As you may have heard, Katrina lives in Northern California with her husband, Jason, and stepdaughter, Riley, where she enjoys glamping, entertaining, cooking, wine tasting, heck yeah, and hosting her live events all year long to help others jumpstart their businesses, marketing, life, and more. You can find out more about her and get some of her free trainings online at www.jumpstartyourbiznow.com/free trainings, or take her Jumpstart Your Biz assessment at www.jumpstartyourbizquiz.com. Without further ado, Katrina Sawa. Thank you for joining us, Katrina. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I'm just, so for those of you who are watching, I'm used to the interactive chat. Okay. So I like to see your faces and I can't. So I hope to God you're like going to help me in the chat. And like, so I know you're there. I see 13 people on the line, including me and Thomas. But I hope that when I say, hey, let me know in the chat what you're feeling. I need that. The more you give to me, the more I can give to you. Okay. So I will tell you, I don't know if you want to stop sharing your screen so they can see me full screen, but the thing I normally talk about is making more money, putting more fast cash, like how to make fast cash today, right? I'm super passionate about helping people make more money doing what they love. I know that I can't help you find a buyer or seller right now in your own city. But hopefully this talk will help you think about other things to do to increase your revenue, to look at what you're doing in your day-to-day activities, but also with yourself and your self-care. So what putting yourself first means to me is a lot of times, well, we do it backwards. First of all, we take care of everybody else first, the kids, the family, the friends, the neighbors, the clients, especially, right? We'll go head over heels. I know my realtor does that for me, right? So I know that you guys probably do that, especially those of you who are here live. You're trying to figure out, okay, you're working on yourself. You're working on your self-development, your business development. If you're here live, right? You're made the time to listen. Those of you on the recording, I'm not blaming you for not showing up. Hopefully you're listening, right? What I have found, I've been in business for 20 years. It's a roller coaster, right? It's a roller coaster ride. Some years are amazing, some years not so great. So I get it. And I also happen to come from the mindset, well, the family, my husband is a home inspector. So I get your market, okay? He's on an inspection today and he had one yesterday, but like literally it's been like 3 and 2 weeks, which is like hardly any revenue, right? So I get where you're coming from in your industry right now. And I can tell you that working on yourself will 100% increase your revenue. And I know some of you don't see the correlation to that, but it is so true, okay? Because of so much mental illness stuff going out in the world right now. I mean, it's more than ever right after COVID. So many people are in more depressed situations and they're just not feeling themselves, right? And the less work my husband has, even the more depressed he gets, right? Because he's like, oh, I'm not bringing into the family. And so we're relying on my income. So I hear it. But in order to be consistent in the long run, we're in it for the long haul. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 52. Okay. And so I'm looking to be in business another 20, 30 years. I actually don't believe in retirement because what I'm building, I can just keep tweaking and evolving and work less or do it differently as I go. I don't have to ever stop what I'm doing if I love what I'm doing. I just have to do it differently to create the lifestyle that I want today, right? So today, my lifestyle is such that I love working 5 days a week. I would be bored out of my mind if I did not work Monday through Friday. I don't want to work on the weekends, where I know a lot of you guys sometimes work on the weekends. But I think number one is setting some clear lifestyle goals. This is the perfect time of year and the perfect time in the marketplace to focus on what you truly want. And then hold yourself accountable to those boundaries and to those goals, right? I know we want to make more money. I know we might make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of you probably, right? Just like myself. But if you are not being true to your authentic self or your values or your boundaries, it's going to fester in yourself, within yourself, for it could create illness, right? It could create resentment in your relationships. It could create just negativity overall. So I think taking the time right now when business might be slow, and some of you might be really good. You might be getting the people that are buying and selling. Fantastic. But please, on a regular basis, it is so important to look at the big picture, where you want to go, stay focused on that. It can change, don't get me wrong. And then the lifestyle that you want to create. I know realtors that don't work weekends. I know realtors that don't take calls after 6 p.m. And it doesn't hurt their business. In fact, it helps their business, because you know why? As a home buyer, I respect someone who has set boundaries and is only available these days and these times. That is okay, because if I want what they've got, I'm going to fit into their thing, into their schedule. Okay. Like some of you, I don't know if you're women or men on the line, but my hairdresser, like she has set days and times that she will work. And if I want my hair done by the same gal, which why would we change, ladies? If you're there, you don't change your hairdresser when you find one that you like. You just don't. You just fit in. If she only has one day available in December when I can get my hair done and it's only between 2 and 4 p.m., well, guess what? That's when I'm making my appointment because that's when it has to be. Okay. So we don't have to give in, number one, to whatever the customer wants. We don't, because I always say there's billions of people on this planet and all of us need just this many to make a lot of money, just this many, right? And especially in your industry, it's repeat clients and referrals, huge, huge source of resources. So we're going to talk a little bit about some boundaries, some things that you can do during downtime so that you can create habits that will last even when you're busy, okay? And we're going to talk about some strategic things you could do to help your business as well, because I think that's important and I know you're interested, I'm sure. And then but I want this to be interactive. So as much as possible with the chat. So please tell me in the chat if you are having your best year yet in real estate, put a number 1, put a number 2 if it's your worst year in real estate, and number 3 if it's kind of in the middle. If you could do that for me. A 1 if it's your best year, a 2 if it's your worst year so far, and a 3 if you're kind of in the middle. Anybody want to play? I don't see anything. No, you're not going to play with me? That's okay, but I want you to, okay, I see a 2. Thank you, Dina. You're kind of in the middle. I know when COVID hit, I will tell you, I was doing a lot of, thanks, Sylvia. Okay, we see some 2s. Good, so it's not the worst. Oh, no, that is the worst. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so worst year in real estate. Oops, oops. So 2 is worst year in real estate. Okay, I get it. And most people, when COVID hit, that was their worst year ever because they couldn't see their customers. They couldn't do stuff in person anymore. People couldn't come into stores. It actually was my best year in my coaching business because everybody turned online and they needed to figure shit out online, right? And so that was actually my best year. Jenny's having her best year. Good. That's awesome. So I want to know, though, what is your biggest concern? It could be we're in it for the long haul. So if you're in this business for the long haul, meaning the next 5, 10, 20 years, right? Then I want to know, like, we have to be able to sustain the roller coaster of cash flow, right? And so that could mean like when times are good, you pack it away, right? And put it in investments that you can maybe get out later if need be when times are not so good. I know we did that over the last couple of years is we've done some stuff like that. So that's something to look at. Jenny said, oh, sorry, worst. Oh, okay. Okay. So everybody's having their worst year ever. I hate to hear that. It breaks my heart. Well, then I know it's going to seem counterintuitive to focus on yourself rather than your business. But 2 things people do when times get really tough is they become a workaholic because they think, oh, I have to just keep working because I have to make money. But then your relationships suffer, your health suffers, your self-care suffers, your friendships suffer, your relationships with your kids or your parents or whoever is in your life suffers, right? And working more hours doesn't necessarily equate to more money. We want to work smarter, not harder, right? The second thing people do is they retreat and don't work at all. They get all scared and retreat and hold back everything. So when times are tough, right? And I would imagine some of you might agree, the people that aren't here, maybe they're retreating. Maybe they're workaholic right now. Maybe they're just working. And how do we determine what are the right activities to work on, right? So that we do stay with our boundaries. I mean, if it's a down market right now, I mean, if you're at the office twice as much as you usually are, or out in public talking to people, right, at events and the grocery store and wherever you can have a conversation, is it really going to change and move the needle? It could, because I do believe in business, it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more opportunity you have for finding people who want what you've got or need help, right? But let's see what Jolene says. From the results we're seeing, if it isn't working, we need to change. Possibly, but it could just be the marketplace and you don't want to change too much. I see a lot of realtors running themselves into the ground, and with self-care, they're gaining a lot of weight. They're eating fast food or on the go or not at all. They are, or not eating at all, and they're losing a bunch of weight, which isn't necessarily healthy, right? And they have more anxiety, more worry, all of that kind of thing. And that, you know, I'm not a health person or a doctor, but I mean, that can lead to illnesses and, you know, cancer and things like that. My husband has had cancer before, and it was no joke, right? And he was in mortgage actually before he was in home inspector, and he hated it in mortgage when I met him. And I really think the fact that he was in a job that he hated for so long, like 13 years, that is what caused his cancer, is that festering in your body. I'm just saying it contributed, I'm sure, to it, but we have to really look at how we want our life to be, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and stick to our values, stick to our boundaries. So what do boundaries look like, right? It could be not taking phone calls certain hours, turn your phone off and have your voicemail reflect. It could be making sure you eat dinner with your family. That's really important for us, is to make sure we eat dinner together every single night, and we cook at home a lot. Not to save money, but we like it. It's more healthy too. We don't go out a lot. We go out occasionally. That doesn't mean you have to stay home and cook, but think about the choices that you're making and really where you want to be. I can tell you, when I started my own business, which was 20 years ago, I was married to my starter husband, not my current husband, but my starter husband. And we had met during a time when we were both doing door-to-door sales, knocking on doors in residential area. Maybe you've done that if you have a farm and you're working your farm, right? So we met doing door-to-door sales. I thought for sure he was more outgoing and more sales oriented, but lo and behold, once we got married, he actually went and got a job with a secure paycheck every 2 weeks. And he became this, like, he had more of an employee mindset, and I had more of the entrepreneur mindset. But he had an employee mindset where he just wanted to go to his work, clock in, get his paycheck, come home, eat dinner, go to bed, get over and do it again. Where I was like, ooh, but I can create this, and then I can do this, and then I want to help these people, and I want to have this event, I want to go to this workshop, and I got to do a website. And I had the entrepreneur mindset, right? But what happened was my husband wasn't supportive of me doing my business, because I wanted to spend $3,000 on a website or a couple thousand on a workshop and fly to LA and go to that and spend money in a hotel and airfare and all that kind of thing. And he would see dollars flying out, but the money wasn't coming in as fast, right? But I knew that I needed to learn these things. It was new stuff, just like you guys, you know, you take real estate training and you CEUs every year, right? And you learn new things about laws and things that in your industry. And you probably talk to all the other, you know, mortgage lenders and the title people, so you're aware of everything going on. Well, that's what I was doing in my business. And he was not supportive of that and said, well, you have to make money before you can spend it. And well, we can't go on a vacation because we're not bringing the money in, but we weren't connecting. And I needed that personal connection with my significant other. This is one of the places where sometimes we settle, right? And I realized after 2 years, well, we were married for 8.5 years, but those last 2 years, I had been faking it, being happy. And I would go out and go networking, right? Just like you guys probably do. Go to the chamber mixers, go to the luncheons. I'd meet people. How is everything, Katrina? Oh, it's great. Everything's fine. I love what I'm doing. Yay. And then I would go home and I would cry myself to sleep because I was not happy at all in my personal life. And it was seeping into my business. I thought I was good at wearing the mask and putting it out there that everything was great, but I wasn't happy. And when I talk about setting boundaries and creating that lifestyle, we have the business side of our life and the money-making stuff that we do. And we have what I call the love side of your life, which is your self-care, your relationships, everything you do for yourself. And that it's the settling of anything, whether you're in a job that you hate, or you realize you can't stand the roller coaster in the marketplace, and I'm going to go do something that I'm going to work at a grocery store because a grocery store never closes. I'm never going to not have a job because the grocery store doesn't close no matter what happens. Well, you definitely need to find something that makes you happy, okay, in your business life. If this is what it is, then we have to figure out a way to make sure that you can sustain yourself through good and bad times, and that you have good practices for self-care, for relationships, and for your business throughout the whole time, okay, no matter if it's good or bad. So there's a lot of mindset stuff. But we also have to look at the love side of your life. And a lot of times I think people hide their head in their sand about that, which I think is a mistake. I think you need to spend sometimes even more. If business isn't so great right now, then maybe you spend 60% of your time in the business, maybe 50, and then the other 50 spend a little bit more time with the relationships. But it's time to probably reevaluate if everything's going well. Like, are you completely happy in your personal life, in your relationships, or are you maybe settling? Because I'm telling you, the grass is greener. Even if you're not bringing in money too much at the moment, being unhappy is worse than being broke, in my opinion, because it just is. And when I decided to leave that marriage, I didn't have a whole lot of regular income coming in at the time. This was back in 2005. And I just had to leap out and trust that it was all going to work itself out, that I knew what I needed to do to run the business, make the money. I immediately bought a new house. I was still paying for the old. I don't know what came over me. I didn't just rent. I just went in with two feet, right? And so it was a big leap of faith. And so part of what I'm talking about here is not only not settling, but you have to have faith in yourself, right? Like, if you truly believe that being a realtor is your passion, your true thing, perfect, then let's trust that you're going to do all the right things. You're here today working on yourself. You're here today thinking, how can I create the kind of life I want with the right kind of income coming in? So is there anybody out there that, put in the chat if you if you relate to maybe a not so good personal situation. It's okay. I know people see your names, and they're not going to point you out. But it's important to take a look at this if you need to. I'll just leave it there. But you deserve a amazing, profitable business, and you also deserve an amazing, love-filled personal life. Now, whether you are if you're single, then at some point you're going to want another person, most likely, because I think we're all humans that need that connection. So just don't ignore it, is my point, and don't put it over here if you're not happy and just to focus on the business because you're worried about money. Please take the time to work on that as well, is what I really want to share. I don't really, I mean, I do have some slides. I wasn't really going to share slides. I would like to just talk, but I can if we think that, I mean, I'm sharing everything here. What do you need to know about me? And, you know, why am I sharing this? Number one, it is because when I learned that I was settling in my personal life and leaped out, a couple years after that, I didn't realize it that year, but a couple years later, I was reflecting back on what I had done and where I was at. And I was so much happier. Yes. But I also was taking a look at my clients. Now I have clients of all different kinds. I've had realtor clients, I've had mortgage, I've had brick and mortar stores and home improvement, massage therapists, coaches, authors. It doesn't matter. What I did was I took a look at my clients, and the majority of the ones that weren't as successful and weren't doing the things I was suggesting to them to grow their business and make more money and get more clients was because they were unhappy in their personal lives. I'm telling you, it's a huge, huge thing that we cannot ignore. So first you have to figure out what you want. So I want you to think about, if you could wave a magic wand, what would be the perfect scenario of a relationship for you? What would be a perfect lifestyle, how you spend your days? It could be 3 days a week. It could be 7 days a week, but only 3 hours a day. It could be 5 days. It could be weekends. It's whatever you want right now, knowing that you can change it anytime you want. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can change your mind anytime you want. Yay. So looking at that personal side, okay, Dina, thank you. You relate to a lot of this. Okay, good. All right. So what do we do during a slower time to put ourselves first? We talked about the relationship. We talked about the lifestyle, having that, like, do a vision board. It could be a great time of year to do a vision board. You're in the planning stages. I know next month they're going to look at doing a business plan for next year. I'm all about the practical, tactical things that you can do to make more money and get more clients. But right now, when times are slow, it might be time before you get to the planning meeting to do a little dreaming about how you want to wave a magic wand and what do you really want? What do you want first? Not what do you need to do first? What do you want first? Okay. And it could be partly money too. I always say, what is your need number? I say that to clients and people all the time. What's your need number? So there's a need number and there's a want number, right? So a need number is so we don't have to dip out of savings and put stuff on the credit cards. That's what we need to survive and do what we need to do. But it should also including vacations. So the things we need so we don't lose our sanity, right? And so we need to have date nights. We need to be able to go on vacation. We need to have little getaways. We need to maybe have an assistant that does some of your paperwork. We need to have a good website, a good web presence. And I'll talk about that in a second. We need to have good, some exposure and visibility out there. So some marketing, right? Not just you physically walking into a networking event, but we need to have stuff so that people think of you first, right? And so all those things need to go into your quote unquote need number. So when times are tough, we have to kind of go back to our need number. And so that we can see that the goals that they might be more achievable is my point. Okay. Instead of, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to get to my want number. I don't want you to not have big goals. I just also want you to be realistic with what you need. Right. And I don't like budgeting, because budgeting means that we're stuck under this certain number, when as an entrepreneur, we know that our income is unlimited. Now, for you guys as realtors, you may not think your income is unlimited if the market's kind of dried up in your area, right? You're like, well, if I don't get a listing or sell a house, I am not making money. So let's think about, though, some innovative outside the box ideas you could perhaps do to make money, right? What if during this time you started a workshop and you charged, I know, maybe something like $47 or something like that, and you taught something? Maybe you collaborated with other people in your industry and you guys got people together and while that's not a big high ticket to bring people in, it could educate the marketplace enough, because people are still selling, they're still buying, because situations warrant it, right? But maybe the ones who were going to buy or sell are just too scared because they're hearing the big things in the market. But if they actually came to a workshop where you educated them on ways that they could buy down interest rates and all kinds of different things that you can do, then they might be more open to doing it. And they just have to like and trust and connect with someone a little bit on a deeper level. You have to go deeper with people sometimes. So that's one idea, right? Is to really educate the marketplace, the people that you can touch, the people that are watching you. That's innovative ideas. Get some innovative ideas. I mean, now is the time to do more of that in your business and really develop a close community for yourself. I know that we have an email list that we send to. We might have a farm of certain geographical area that you mail to with addresses and mailings, but do you really have a community? So this is the time that you could really do a lot to build community and build those relationships so deep that they're not going anywhere else ever, right? And if those people that are in your community know anybody who might be interested in buying and selling, you have to talk to Susan. You have to talk to Dina, right? Because they're so close with you now. So now is the time to get so close with those people who know, like, and trust you that there's no way they would do anything but, and they would be open to talking to you more, right? Right now, they could just be acquaintances. They could just be acquaintances or previous customers or people in your community. But how deep are those relationships, right? I know my realtor, she just emailed me, and I was at her office recently. They had a little client get together party. Great thing to do, right? Bring clients into the office, have a party. They had a band, they had drawings. We won one of the prizes that she had. They had tons of food, which was annoying because I ate too much, but but they always throw a good party, right? And she wasn't there. And I emailed her and I said, where were you? We won your prize. She's like, I had a couple things with my heart last month. And I'm like, oh gosh, I hope you're okay, right? And she was very vulnerable and I feel bad for her. And like, that's made me closer to her. Are you doing these things? Do people know? I tell my current clients all the time, I don't currently have a realtor client, but all my clients, like, a lot of them are not going deep enough with their prospects and their customer and their email lists. You know, I'll tell you, one of the most response I've got from an email was when, the biggest response I've ever gotten from an email are two things I can recall in 20 years. One was when I announced that my dad died. The second was when my dog died. Which, I mean, come on, right? So I know that sometimes we're doing these things on social media, and sometimes it seems like people are being vulnerable, and sometimes it's planned vulnerability, if you know what I mean. Like, they're planning, and it's a marketing strategy to be the vulnerable and tell the vulnerable story. But I would urge you to go deeper with people in their relationships. Find out more. Recently, I did an email. I said, I think the subject line was, my quick question, I need a favor or something like that. I had so many people replying to that email. It was about asking their opinion on some things that I wanted to do for next year. And if they had 15 minutes to give me for a phone call so I could ask them some questions. I got so many random people that I'd never even knew were there because they weren't responding to anything that came out of the woodworks, and almost all of them really need what I have. And it wasn't like a bait and switch where I was trying to get them on a call to sell them stuff. I really was trying to get answers, but I couldn't help myself from giving some in return, right? Some ideas for them. And it was just, I felt like I was going deeper with all these people that didn't really know what I was doing. I would really recommend, how many of you are thinking, wow, I do need to go deeper? Put deeper in the chat if this is something that maybe you're gonna take a look at over the next couple months, because I'm telling you, the surface relationships are gone. It's the people that are making a lot of money and that are doing really well and staying successful and off that roller coaster of cash flow are the people that are being vulnerable and close in connection with their community. I have some clients who are not comfortable with that for whatever reason. And I'm trying to get to the heart of it because I'm trying to go deep with them to find out what the problem is, because it's not just that they don't feel comfortable. There's something else deeper, right? There's something else. Like, I know one of them is not happy in their personal life, but she won't admit it. She won't admit it, but I can tell every time I say, well, how's your husband? What have you guys been doing? Da, da, da. She's like, she changes the subject. Oh, everything's great. And she fakes it. She puts a smile on and a mask. And I'm like, not believing you. Right. And yes, I push the buttons with that a little bit because that's my job. Because she wants to make more money, she's got to be open with herself and what's going on. You do. If you hide stuff, and before I left that first marriage, I wore a mask. Those last 2 years, especially, I had a mask on. When I would go to knocking on doors and, go into the chambers and speaking in front of groups, I would put this different persona hat on. And then I would cry myself to sleep. And, even if people don't know that about you, they can feel it in your energy. They can feel it in your energy. And sometimes when we feel that in our energy, we don't know what it is, but we just don't trust. We don't 100% trust if we feel that from somebody and we're going to use somebody else. So I would really look at some of the things that are perhaps weighing on you in that regard, and really look at those. There's nothing wrong with going to talk to people about it. Get a life coach, go to a therapist, get some of this stuff out. Figure out how to talk about it. Let people in on what's going on in your life. All right. So going deep is another thing, that going deep with yourself, but also creating that community and letting them all in to what's going on in your world, right? I know sometimes when I tell people like the hurdles that I've had to overcome, it's shocking. At 42, well, I'll back up a little bit. I mean, I've had toe surgeries and my dad died, and then my dog, it was 14 years I got from the marriage, the first marriage. He got the cat, I got the dog, I got the better end of the deal. It was a German Shepherd. He was my baby for 14 years. I didn't have kids. I didn't give birth. I had a German Shepherd and he was 14 years old and he was 140 pounds. And he gave out when I was at a conference in Dallas one year, and I had a pet sitter at my house, and his back legs just gave out. I had to fly home and put him down. And I had been saying to him all along, I said, you can't leave me until I find the one, because that was when I was single. You can't leave me till I find the one. You can't leave me till I find the one, the next one, the current, one. And it was 2 weeks after I met my current husband, Jason, that he gave out. He knew it was the one. He knew he was the one. And he said, okay, you're good. Thanks. I'm out. And I was like, oh my God. Right. So when I shared that, and even today when I share it, it's crazy. I've had that happen. Oh, I know. Thanks, Kathy. It is a sweet story. I know he's up there watching after me. And now I have a bonus kid, except she's a 13-and-a-half-year-old teenager that's not so easy right now. So if you have any teenager advice, I will take it gladly. She hates her. I wrote the book, Love Yourself Successful. Okay. And this girl hates herself. I'm like, oh, if only I knew how to get to her. I think eventually when she's 20 something, it will be okay. But when I say things like, oh yeah, at 42, I had 2 total hip replacements, surgeries, 2 total hip replacements. Who has that? First of all, at 42. So I've had a lot of roadblocks, but you know what has been consistent the whole entire time? The lead generation, the marketing, the follow-up, and the sales. I am so consistent and so organized with my revenue generating activities that I don't care what happens in life. My husband went through cancer. I had to go to chemo every day for 8 weeks with him for half the day. So I only had half a day to work, if that, because I still had to take care of him. I had a team, I had systems, I had people to do follow-up calls and who sent the mailers, and I had things that were getting done so I didn't have to do them. These are the kind of things that can last you through the good and the bad, the busy and the slow, okay? And they're invaluable, is getting these systems into place. So a few things that you might take the time to work on if business happens to be slow for the next few months, then instead of just trying to find the perfect client, which we still want you to do lead generation, marketing, follow-up, and sales, but maybe get more closer with your community. But I also want you to take time to work on the business, not just in it. In it is networking, follow-up calls, you know, calling on your prospects, previous clients. That's working in it, which is good. But I want you to take the time to work on it, because sometimes we don't do that. So putting yourself first is also making sure you work on the business, right? Almost every year in 20 years or the last 15 years, I've had a business coach, different ones for different reasons. I've had health coaches, fitness coaches, because what's on my radar, what do I want to do, right? So I hire the person to help me get to the next level of whatever it is, my health, my business, my income. And so working on the business, figuring out what is the plan, right? You can look at, I know I talked about your website earlier. Some of you might just have a page on the parent company website. I don't know if you do. I haven't talked about that with Thomas. So I don't know if you guys have your own websites, own web presence, if it's against the rules or if it's okay. But I highly recommend it if it is, if it's okay, because you have to be in control of your own social presence, your own online presence. It is the #1 place people go these days to get more information from somebody. You have a company website. So that's great, but you can still have your own. Okay, right? Can you? Just nod up or down. Yes. So he's saying you can still have your own company website. Okay, I get that you can do stuff on that page, but you aren't in control of the whole thing. And once somebody goes to a parent company website, usually if they don't really like, trust, and connect with you, they're getting on the parent company email, and I'm getting probably a little too detailed because I don't know all the backstory, but being in control of your own database, your own list, your own nurturing, your own everything, so that you can put the things you're passionate about. What if you also are on a health kick? What if you want to talk on your blog about that kind of stuff? You might attract other people in your area who want to talk about that too, right? That's not something that you could usually do on a parent company website. What if you're a big philanthropist and you like to give 10% of your income back to a charity of your choice, right? Sometimes people put a whole charity page on their website. I'm not talking about recreating what's on the company site on your own site, like with all the calculators and all that kind of stuff. Link over to those for that, right? Okay, I see landing pages, but landing pages, yes, they're still not a cohesive thing, okay? It's like you got a bunch of pages out there, but it's not a cohesive. I don't know, I'd have to look at it. But I really want you to take ownership of really getting people to get to know, like, and trust you deeper on the website, on the web pages, with video. Everybody needs video on their website. We need to be able to feel you on that website. Okay, we need more videos of you, because just because you might have met somebody at a local chamber or a local event or at the grocery store, your neighbor, whoever, if they're thinking real estate and they think, I know Kathy Mirando, I want to look her up. I'm going to look her up on Facebook. I'm going to look her up on LinkedIn. I'm going to find her website. I'm going to go check her out. What are they looking for? They're looking for more information about you. What are your likes? What are your likes and dislikes? What are your hobbies? What is your family like? Do you have a family? Do you have kids? Where, where do you focus? What are your thoughts on stuff? Like, they want to know, like, and trust you. I don't just hire a realtor because they have a good reputation. I gotta like them because I gotta spend a lot of time with them when I'm looking for a house or selling a house, right? I also have to trust them that they know how to manipulate, excuse my language, but manipulate it so I get the better end of the deal. Like, come on, let's be real, right? So I want to know that they've got my best interest at heart, that they're always thinking about me. Advocate, thank you. Do I have hosting recommendations that don't cost for? Yes. So yes, it's not something that I can probably blanket tell you since I don't know any of you at the moment. There's so many ways to have your own web presence. I'm all about building the business the most affordable way possible. Okay. So while there are do-it-yourself options out there, I don't recommend you do it yourself because it'll look like you did it yourself. Please don't do that yourself. Okay. You can spend a very small, but think about your website should be the hub of your business. I don't care if you're meeting people locally, online, on Facebook, wherever, you need to drive them into your website so they can get on your email list. They're not just going to subscribe to a newsletter, and they might not want your market update forecast because that might be boring, but we have to figure out what they do want from you. And it's probably something that you can deliver on more of a personal basis. So a lot of times when you go out there, especially in the realtor world, they have email marketing companies you can hire to do email newsletters, right? Boring. They're boring. I'm telling you, they're boring. Nobody wants that. Well, not nobody, but I mean, the majority of us that aren't looking to buy or sell right now, we're going to unsubscribe. We're going to delete. So how can you entertain those of us who want more information and those of us who want to get to know, like, and trust you better? So don't just hire some random newsletter company, please, that is just going to send market stuff and maybe a little paragraph of what you've got going on. I know it's simpler, but it's not the best strategy these days. It isn't. The best strategy is you talking from your heart and what you're going through and what's going on for you is us getting to know you. It's videos, it's what your interests are, it's invitations to stuff you're going to, it's how to get us involved in your community. So it's nurturing the database. The days of just setting it and forgetting it are gone. You're going to lose people to your competitors if you keep that up. You really will. You got to figure out how to get more personal. You don't even have to have a big database anymore. It's about that personal connection. It really is. So in order to do that, you might have to get in touch with your own deeper thoughts and wants and desires and things like that. So looking at some of those things, how to update your website, how to update your social profiles, how to stay up to date and get people more interested. I know it seems like a crazy huge task. I don't mean that you have to do all the social media sites. You just have to do one or two of them really well, right? Social media is just one marketing strategy out of 20 that I teach. Okay. I love networking better in person. If you can do networking in person, it's faster, right? People get to know your energy faster. If you can speak to a group, you might think, what do I have to speak about? Well, I'll bet you we can find something that you can speak about. You just haven't thought of it in a way, right? I don't sell life coaching, although I do it. I'm talking about it today in a way. So yeah, I got it. It could be right now working on your business, looking at developing more referral relationships. That's something a lot of people don't take a lot of time with. So where can you find other referral relationships? It may be outside of the real estate industry, frankly. Okay. Look for people who are currently having lots of clients right now, who might be having holiday parties, who you can collaborate with, who you can actually build more deeper relationships with. So now is the time to look at building deeper and more quantity of referral relationships. But what happens is You build them now when you're slower, and then when you get busy, you forget about them. You can't do that. So we have to set the systems up now to nurture and get in touch with and keep in touch with and learn more about your, not only your current customers, your online database, all the people following you, your community, your referral sources, but we have to keep a consistent nurturing campaign going. I call it a campaign, but it's really just touching people. And that's, I think, what people stop doing because they freak out about the industry or they're too busy to do it. You're not going to be able to do all of that yourself, by the way. So you are going to need an assistant of some sort if you really want to build a bigger business. And sometimes we need that person before we think we can afford them. But don't say, I can't afford it. Say, how can I afford it? How can I afford these things that I need? All right. So, and the last thing is really, what else do you need to learn and or develop your skills on or master? Because those are things that you can do right now. You can be working on your self stuff. I joined Brendon Bouchard's Growth Day, like, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, I think. Every single morning, I think except for maybe 5 in the last 3 months, I have opened his Growth Day app. I have listened to his self-development message. Do I need a motivator to get to work and make money every day? No, I don't. But you know what I felt was missing was the going deeper with my own community, taking care of my own self-care. So I'm doing that for me, for like a personal self-development tool. Takes me 15-20 minutes in the morning. Also, this whole year, I've been on Noom. I've been trying to lose weight. I've lost like 40 pounds this whole year. I gained a ton of weight during COVID. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but like, I was like, okay, we have to go back in person. Like, I can't go out like this. So I've been doing that almost every single day, except for when I've been traveling. I have weighed myself every single morning and doing that. And I put in like how much I eat and calories and all that. And I've been doing that almost every day since January, you guys. So that's what I've been doing for my self-development. And I've been staying consistent and it's proven results. And I was told, well, my goal was to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds without exercise because I'm not a fan. Okay, let's face it. I don't like to exercise. And I've done it. I haven't had to exercise. Yay. Now I will, because now I need to just get some of this jiggle into shape. But but one thing at a time, right? So I'm just telling you these things because this is what I've been focusing on, even being busy. I didn't let that stop me from some of these personal goals that I had for myself. And first of all, you have to make the decision to make a goal. So until you're ready to make that decision and make a goal, you're not going to do the things, period. That's okay. I wasn't ready for many years to lose weight until January when I made a goal. And my goal wasn't X pounds. It was actually just to feel sexy again. Honestly, I wanted to feel sexy. I didn't feel sexy. Even though my husband loved the way I look, but he was too forgiving. Like, stop liking my belly. Like, stop it. So I just want to encourage you to pick a couple of things that you want to work on, whether it's your personal self-development, your health, your relationships, the nurturing in your business. Maybe you want to learn more about really mastering the sales follow-up stuff, the languaging that can actually help people want what you've got more and, you know, pick you over the other 14 realtors at the chamber or whatever, right? Like, so what do you really want to work on? Pick one. I know it's unrealistic to have you do everything all at once. So pick something and get started with something now. Don't just retreat because business is slow and go watch Yellowstone all day on Netflix or wherever. Like, pick something and be proactive, be productive, and think about some of these things. So I'd love to hear in the chat, what are you going to focus on? Put something in the chat. Personal, love life, health, self-care, nurturing, going deep. Anybody? Did I put you to sleep? We're done. Don't worry. We're going to stop too. So Jolene, I hear you. We're done. All of it, Dina. Okay, well, pick one thing and put it in order of importance. Because if you try to do all of them all at the same time, you'll probably won't make it. Let's face it, right? Or pick one thing you can do in each area or something. Consistency in social media, health, good. I love it. Now, if you need help or support, you probably have people in your own community you can turn to. You can turn to me. Maybe I have some ideas. Maybe I can point you in the right direction. I know a lot of people all over the country. So, and I know a lot of networking groups all over in every state. I'm in a lot of different things. So get a part-time job. Okay. Well, you got to do what you got to do to pay bills. Awesome. More videos with me in it. Yes. Please, more videos, you guys. Please let people feel your energy online. If you're not going to be in person with them, then a video of you really sharing. I've shared a lot today, right? Like a lot of like personal stuff. And this allows usually people to like, trust, and connect with me faster. And the same thing will work for you too. I know it. All right. Thomas, what do you think? Where are we at?
I think we are wonderful. I mean, so many takeaways, right? And I love that you're ending it with pick one thing, because plenty of us could rattle off a list, you know, like Dina was saying, it could be everything, all of it. And we just have to start somewhere. So I thank you for really hitting that home.
I don't think I'm able to put anything in the chat. So I was going to put some stuff in the chat. I was going to say there's 3 things that you guys could walk away with if you want. There's 3 things. I put it to host a
There you
panel.
go. Awesome.
Did
You
they
got
see
it.
that?
Yep. Should be in
Okay.
the chat.
You guys see all those links? So I have a book, Love Yourself Successful. I have lots of books. You could get that. I have a Jumpstart Your Biz quiz, jumpstartyourbizquiz.com. If you want to evaluate the different areas of your business and see what's missing and where to focus, I would take the quiz. It's free. I have an event in December. If you want to work on the business stuff, the marketing, the follow-up, the sales, all that kind of stuff, we're going to cover that website stuff. But yeah, just get on my email list and we'll never know where we can go from there.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. Obviously, a huge thank you for Katrina sharing some wonderful takeaways for us, providing excellent insight into how you can really, we have to take the time. We have to take the time and put in the time to work on ourselves. That goes a long way. So hopefully all of you will pick that one thing and really get started. And you know, the sky's the limit, and have a plan, right? Having a plan is, without a plan, how do you get started? So pick something, get started, and you know, the rest will fall into place. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and hope to see you again next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.